Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. In this video, we'll dive into details about our Vietnam trip, specifically about Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. This video is intended to provide information about our hotel, transportation, and our likes and recommendations. Everything in this video is based on our own experience and what worked for us. So this was our first time in Vietnam. We stayed in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. We caught a flight from China to Hanoi, and then after our time in Hanoi, we caught a plane from Hanoi to Ho Chi Minh City. Within this video, it will be split into two, where in the first half of this video, I'll specifically talk about Hanoi, and then the second part where I'll be talking about Ho Chi Minh City. The Ho Chi Minh City part would start at this time frame, and to also make it easier, I'll be wearing this shirt while talking about Hanoi, and this is what I'll be wearing talking about Ho Chi Minh City. So let's get into talking about Hanoi. Before we get into the video, we greatly apologize for the incorrect pronunciation of any Vietnamese words. We don't speak Vietnamese, and everything that we've learned is from the restaurants and also a few videos on YouTube. For our hotel, we booked an apartment hotel. We booked one called V&A Homes, and this one was the one near Westlake. The room was pretty great. We had a bedroom, we had a kitchenette, a living area, and also a bathroom. It came with facilities like a fridge, microwave, and a washer. Oh, I forgot to mention there's also a free gym at the hotel as well. The housekeeping came every day, and the reception was readily available to answer any questions that you had. We booked their driver service to pick us up from the airport. It was stress-free for us when we arrived. Location-wise, it was a great area to explore mom and pop shops. So around the neighborhood, there were a lot of aunties that would open up their own restaurant in front of their houses, and the food that they serve would be for breakfast and lunch. There were also plenty of cafes along the street, and there was a convenience store across the road. There was a pho restaurant right next door to the hotel, which had one of Clement's favorite pho that we tried in northern Vietnam. And it was a 2-minute walk from Westlake, which had a beautiful view. It was really nice to see the sunset there, and Clement got to do his exercise because there was free gym equipment in the park. However, in terms of the lake, this downside is that the fish like to float more than they like to swim. In terms of transportation, we used Grab. So we booked 2 tours while we were in Hanoi. One was to Ha Long Bay and the other was to Ninh Binh. I booked both of these tours via Klook. We did 2 separate videos about our experience on this tour and where we went, so check those out. But here's the general gist of both the tours. So the Ha Long Bay one was my favorite one because I just felt quite fulfilled at the end of the day. There was a good buffet on the boat, and I was able to see a beautiful view of the bay after walking up 800 steps. The bamboo boat that took us into this small lake area was really relaxing. And who doesn't enjoy a nice cruise ride into the sunset? In terms of Ninh Binh, it was just as beautiful, and the activities were a great way to explore the area. However, I just didn't like the order the activities were done, mainly because we did a 1,000-step hike up to the Mua Caves at the end of the day, and before that we did a tour around a temple. We also did bike riding in the countryside, We also did a 1-hour boat ride, and mind you, this was all done under the hot Vietnam sun. And also, this wasn't totally the tour's fault in general, but what really killed the mood for me was just there was this one very unhygienic traveler on our tour. Although I do recommend going on a tour for these two places because they do take 2 to 3 hours to get to, and also it's nice to be driven around since I don't believe there's much transportation around there. My favorite dish out of this whole trip in Hanoi was the dill grilled fish. The traditional name is this. What was most surprising for me in this dish was that the dill plays such a big part in the flavoring of this dish. So first of all, the fish tasted like chicken, which is really delicious. Secondly, the fish is grilled right in front of you with the dill, and then as the fish grills, the fish oil comes out and then it gets mixed with the dill and it smells amazing. And when you add that oil onto your vermicelli noodles and then add the fish sauce and mix it all together, it just really melts in your mouth. I really highly recommend this place. Not just for the delicious food, but you also get to experience that sitting on the street watching the traffic type of experience in Hanoi. Bung cha. This was my favorite Vietnamese dish when I was in Sydney. I have a huge love for fish sauce, dipping sauce. Just something about it, like it's tangy and then it just really carries the freshness of Vietnamese food. And then you get a side of grilled pork belly and grilled pork balls. It just tastes like a really good barbecue experience, but Vietnamese style. This restaurant that was near our hotel was my favorite. It's different from all the bung chas that I've had in the past. So for the dipping sauce, it tasted like they created a clear broth and then mixed in the fish sauce together, because the dipping sauce had a depth of flavor that was just a bit out of this world. Banh mi. This was my favorite Vietnamese food growing up. My parents would always buy one and take one home for me every time they visited Cabramatta, which is the Vietnamese town in Sydney. The banh mi in Hanoi tastes a bit different than the one in Sydney. And what I mean by that is that with each bite that you take, you gain more and more flavor over time. While for the Sydney banh mi's that I've tried, they're more the southern style banh mi's, where your first bite, there's a huge punch of flavor. The Hanoi banh mi is so great for breakfast, because as you gradually and slowly eat your breakfast, you slowly feel more energized and be prepared for your day.
My most favorite food is the one in Hanoi. This one is actually a very simple, much simple flavor. It's not that strong, but it's not as strong as the ones in Ho Chi Minh City. But you can definitely taste that broth, that beef broth. It's really smooth and cleansing.
Egg coffee. I can really understand the hype for egg coffee here. Imagine a really good egg tart and you take the custard part out and put it on top of coffee. It's like putting whipped cream on your frappe. It just really brings out the creaminess of your drink. And lastly, the little egg dish that we had in our last week in Hanoi. It was one of my favorite street food that we randomly fell upon. It was so simple, but the flavors were there. Custom press-on nails. So I ordered 2 sets of custom press-on nails and they were $9 each. They turned out so pretty, and the nail artists, I felt like, went above and beyond for my set. I haven't tried them on yet because I haven't been able to find any nail stickies for them. But just by touch and feel, I feel like they're quite good quality and solid. I have used many press-on nails previously and I feel like these were really worth the money that I paid for. And the great thing is that they do international shipping, so I can order more once I'm back home in Sydney. Cafe culture in Hanoi. The Hanoi people really do know how to relax. A lot of cafes, they have chairs in front of the cafe where you can relax, sip your coffee and also watch the traffic go by. It's a really good pastime. The mum and pop stores in my neighborhood, I got to try so many different versions of Vietnamese food through these mum and pop restaurants. As you can imagine, every family makes certain dishes in their own way, and I was able to eat the different flavors and the small rendition of how each family has their banh mi's, their bún chars and also their bún kungs. The fruit at grocery stores, don't skip out on the fruit in Vietnam, and I do suggest you go and get them at the grocery store just because you get more variety and they're cold, which is the best way to eat fruit. The mangoes were divine. The giant custard apple that we had, that was so juicy. And the golden kiwi, it was so sweet and we did not taste any sourness from it. Hair wash. So we got a hair scalp detox treatment and it was one of the best that we've ever had. And after that treatment, my hair felt so light, so clean that my scalp felt like it was bald. Like I couldn't really feel my hair. Facial. I went to a skin clinic to learn about the condition of my skin. As you can see in the vlogs, my skin has been flaring up a lot since the start of this trip. They scanned my skin with a machine and they gave me a cleansing facial, which included like pimple extraction. It was really painful, but with that pain it came with calmer skin. Like my skin hasn't felt as not angry since the start of this trip. And also I had this huge pimple right here that just wouldn't go away, but after the treatment it died down and now it's just a scar that I'm waiting for it to heal. And then tips about traveling in Hanoi. Bring cash while traveling in Hanoi. We found that it was more common to use cash at the restaurants, cafes, and even at stores. Even when we asked if we could use credit card, they would tell us that the credit card machine wasn't working. Not sure if it was just us or that we just had a lot of bad luck those weeks that credit card machines weren't working, but we had to use cash every time we needed to pay for things. The bank we used to withdraw money was called Military Bank from our international banking card. Strangely, there's some ATMs that don't accept international cards, so I do suggest you look around. Don't feel too disappointed. I know HSBC ATMs work quite well as well, except it did come with a high withdrawal fee. That's why we didn't use the HSBC ATM. And then In terms of my experience of tailor-made clothes, I do highly suggest that you choose some simple design dresses to be made. Based on my experience and also some extra research that I've done after my experience, a lot of people have also suggested to choose simple designs. So I got 2 dresses made. One was more complicated, like this one, and then I got a simple pink dress made. The pink dress came out way better than the complicated one. It just hugged my body in the right ways and a bit more comfortable to wear. There are some details of the pink dress that I would like to modify, but overall it's pretty good and it has pockets. Although in saying that, I love that I have 2 pieces of clothing in my wardrobe that is specifically made for me. Alright, let's move on to the Ho Chi Minh City information. The hotel we stayed at in Ho Chi Minh City is called Rivergate Residence. It's more of a residential apartment. So the place we got is quite similar to a studio apartment. So when you first enter, there's the kitchen, you get a stove, microwave and fridge. And then you have your bathroom, have the bed and the living area together. And then we also have a washer and a drying area. For transportation, we caught Grabs.
One of my favorite pho in Ho Chi Minh City is this pho. This has a very strong flavor. You can tell it has been mixed with enriched beef, and it has blended in really well. And I could taste it through the soup and the noodles. So this other pho has a unique taste. It tastes very different. This one is also in Ho Chi Minh City. It has, you can taste the meat, you know, the beef, these other different kind of special mixture of meat. I'm not sure what they are, but they taste really good. And I think they use some sort of special ingredient in the soup because it has a unique taste.
Pizza for peas. If you ever done your research to look up what to eat in Ho Chi Minh City, this restaurant would have came up on your For You page, and for good reason. The pizzas and the pastas are amazing. Banh mi from this place. Our first try of this banh mi was the day we went out to explore the city. It was our breakfast option, and we made the mistake of getting 2, and these banh mi's are huge. Like, they don't look like it in the camera, but we were so full and we weren't even halfway finished with our breakfast. So I do suggest, if you're not a big eater, share it with someone, just so you can savor the flavor and not be exhaustedly full. We also ordered this through Grab for most of our breakfasts here, so it's a pretty good breakfast option. You will feel full. It would definitely fill you up until lunch or even past lunch. There's this specific Korean restaurant that we've been ordering by Grab. I just had a huge craving for soups, and specifically kimchi jjigae. I'm not sure why I really wanted to eat kimchi. The night that I randomly stumbled upon this Korean restaurant on Grab, and then we ordered the kimchi jjigae. and the omelette, and both were so delicious. Like the soup really hit. It really reminds me of the Korean food in Sydney. And we've ordered this a few more times. So they had, they also have bossam, which is really good as well. So I highly recommend that too. The steaming hot pot. We all know when you're traveling, it's quite hard to find veggies. So this hot pot was pretty much our godsend to be able to eat a lot of vegetables. Everything in this hot pot was super fresh, super high quality, and you get a pretty good home feeling dinner out of it. And the bonus is, which we have not seen anywhere else, is that you get to eat congee at the end of your meal through all the steam and bubbling at the bottom of your hot pot. I really liked how vibrant and lively the malls are in Ho Chi Minh City. We went to a few malls and there were quite a good amount of people there compared to when we went to malls in Hanoi. And there's something about like a busy shopping center that makes it more fun to shop in, more fun to explore. Watching a movie in gold class was such a homey experience. The seats were comfortable and the snuggly blanket really hit it home for us. Printing my t-shirt at Uniqlo, so I wanted to try the printing at Uniqlo, and it's been pretty good. I've worn my shirt a few times already. It's been through the wash twice or 3 times already, and the printing is still as good as when it got printed out. And then for the whole experience at Uniqlo, it was really quick. Once you upload your picture into their program, they were able to print it within 5 minutes, and then you got to take your shirt home right away. I really loved the view outside this apartment hotel. I love looking at cityscape. The art light installation at Meta Show was very interesting. It really reminds me of Team Lab in Tokyo, but not as such a big scale. There is a part in the exposition which was very mind-boggling. It was my first time in a mirror hall, and it just really screws with your mind. And then afterwards, when we were walking through the mall, I was like, is that a mirror? And I felt so cautious. I do recommend this experience, and I feel like maybe the Meta Show is the company that stays at the shopping center, and then the exposition changes. Correct me if I'm wrong. Bring your own tissues. There's a lot of times where the restaurant doesn't provide tissues, or you have to pay for your tissues, which I feel like it's more convenient to carry your own. Also, the wet wipes at the restaurants, you pay for those, so it's better that you just don't use them or bring your own. Ho Chi Minh City is more credit card friendly, so it's easier to use your Apple Pay, your credit card. The locals have their own QR code system. I'm not too sure as a foreigner if you can sign up to it, but that was also offered to us each time we paid our bills.
If you decide to stay in Vietnam, I recommend living in areas or high-rise buildings to avoid all the noise. There's a lot of noise on the ground, a lot of beeping, a lot of karaoke, so you might find sleeping a bit hard. But if you're able to ignore all those, it's actually pretty enjoyable in Vietnam. And crossing the street is the cars they don't really go that quickly. It might appear fast compared to like the western side where you can go from like 60 to 100 on the road. Typical drivers here won't go that fast, and they're actually very alert, and they will swerve away from you if you decide to cross the street. Occasionally, just you have to be alert yourself, because sometimes they think they can squeeze through. Usually they can, but it's quite scary sometimes. Overall, it's pretty safe when crossing the road. Just don't do any quick action. Let them be able to predict your next move, and you'll be fine.
Thanks for watching our informational video about Vietnam. If you do have any questions, leave them in the comments. Bye!